Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. NFL Competition Committee split on tush-push ban. In 2022, the Eagles introduced the tush-push, an extremely effective quarterback sneak with players pushing Jalen Hurts from behind to secure first downs in short yardage situations. 3 years later, the NFL is considering banning the play based on a proposal submitted by the Packers. The proposed rule change would prohibit an offensive player from pushing a teammate who was lined up directly behind the snapper and receives the snap, immediately at the snap, per ESPN's Kalen Kaler. Green Bay's proposal is expected to be hotly contested during league meetings in Florida this week and will likely be voted on by team owners Tuesday. This comes shortly after the Athletic's Diana Russini indicated some momentum has emerged for banning the play. There is support for the rule change on the NFL's competition committee, comprised of 10 coaches and executives. Among them are Rams head coach Sean McVay and Bills head coach Sean McDermott, who had an animated side conversation with Eagles executives Howie Roseman and John Ferrari on Sunday afternoon, according to Kaler. That was after a football operations meeting produced a heated discussion when the proposed language was introduced. The competition committee is split on the tush-push ban, per Mark Mask of the Washington Post. The same is true of the league's 32-team voting body, 24 of whom would need to vote in favor of the ban for it to be implemented. Resistance from within the committee is likely led by McDermott, whose Bills have adopted the play from the Eagles. Combined, they have run the play more times than the other 30 teams combined over the last 3 years, leading to accusations that the Packers' proposal is unfairly targeting the two teams. Falcons CEO Rich McKay, who chairs the competition committee, acknowledged that belief on Sunday. The thing that nobody likes about the discussion we are having is that the rule is directed towards two teams, said McKay, via Kaler. I don't think any of us like the fact that there are teams associated with this rule proposal. The Packers listed player safety and pace of play as the reason for their proposal, though little evidence exists, or can exist, of either claim. Other teams believe that Green Bay wants to ban the play because they can neither replicate it on offense nor stop it on defense. The play was only run 101 times in 2024, 0.28% of the league's total plays, according to Kaler, so there is not enough data to support player safety concerns. The same goes for pace of play, though the Commanders' repeated penalties in January's NFC Championship game could be a blueprint for how teams may approach defending the tush-push in the future. Rather than give up an easy touchdown at the goal line, Washington tried to jump Philadelphia's snaps, leading to 4 penalties in the span of 6 plays. Each flag only advanced the ball half the distance to the end zone, and the Eagles couldn't score. Eventually, referee Sean Hochley stepped in and warned the Commanders that another penalty would result in the officials awarding a touchdown to the Eagles, relying on a little-used rule prohibiting a palpably unfair act. The NFL has a multitude of reasons to want to avoid a recurrence of the Commanders' strategy. 2025 NFL Mock Draft with all trades, deals for Round 1 picks. I'm so glad it's that time again. To you, mock draft season might mean reading the insights of ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr., Field Yates, Jordan Reed and Matt Miller, who use their film study and sources in the league to forecast who your favorite team will select in the NFL Draft. For me, it's a chance to put together my most ridiculous and enjoyable column of the year. Yes, it's time for the mock draft of trades. Most mocks have no trades, because as hard as it is to predict where players will actually end up, it's downright impossible to project which teams will make moves up and down the board and impact the draft order. This mock leans all the way into that uncertainty. For 32 picks, I have 32 trades occurring in 32 different universes. The trade I project with the number 1 pick doesn't take place in the universe in which the number 2 pick gets traded, and on and on. The vast majority of the first 32 picks aren't going to be traded. Right now, none of those selections have been swapped. With each trade, the goal is to capture a scenario that might compel a team to make a move on draft day. What happens if quarterback Shedeur Sanders falls out of the top 10? What if there's a run on offensive linemen in the top 6? And, with so many players being rumored to be trade candidates, what happens if edge rusher Trey Hendrickson, wideout George Pickens and even pass rusher Micah Parsons were involved in deals? To make the deals more plausible, I'm using the Jimmy Johnson chart, which NFL teams use to communicate the value of potential picks with one another. Given that this is a draft class without many top-tier quarterback prospects, most of these deals slightly favor the team moving up, since they don't have to pay the same premium compared to when there's more demand for top prospects. I'm also taking into account the draft history of established general managers who have used their capital to inform their decisions, although those paths are murkier than they were with prior generations of executives. For example, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah had mostly traded down during his time as Vikings general manager, which was in line with an exec with an analytics-heavy background. Last year, he went all in for quarterback J.J. McCarthy and edge rusher Dallas Turner and traded way up. I'll lean into how execs typically approach the draft, but there are always exceptions when scouts and coaches fall in love with players. Picks in this draft will be denoted with the round and overall pick number, so if you see 2 to 38, that means the number 38 overall selection, which comes in round 2. Future picks are mentioned by round since we don't know exactly where they'll land. Let's start with the number 1 pick, which is always the most difficult one of the bunch. I firmly believe the Titans are drafting Cam Ward, but what if they're not as into the quarterback as it seems? Cowboys urged to sign Jordan Lewis replacement Mike Hilton. 2 defensive headlines have dominated the Dallas Cowboys offseason thus far: Micah Parsons' contract extension and the departure of DeMarcus Lawrence. Parsons' extension has gobbled up much of the attention as the NFL world waits on the Cowboys to lock down their defensive star and leader. Max Crosby and Myles Garrett both signed massive extensions just weeks ago, making Parsons' price rocket up to a number that he believes should be around $200 million. Conversely, the Cowboys did not retain the former face of their defense after he signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Lawrence's comments following the move then triggered a feud with Parsons online. Parsons' extension remains undone and the beef has settled down, but another key loss underscores the offseason for this Cowboys defense. The team lost key defensive back Jordan Lewis to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dallas had hopes of retaining him, but could not get an agreement in place. That leaves a major hole to be filled at the slot corner. Looking at the Cowboys' depth chart, Keeman Hall lays claim to the nickel corner spot. However, Bleacher Report's Mo Moton believes the Cowboys could explore a veteran option in free agent Mike Hilton. With the spotlight on running backs last year, Hilton should be in demand because of his tackling ability. Teams need reinforcements in the run defense against star ball carriers like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson and Josh Jacobs. At 31, Hilton can be a valuable asset for a defense on all 3 downs. Any team with a need in the slot can use him. Not only do the Cowboys need a presence in coverage with Lewis gone, but the added ability to impact the run defense from the second level would be a major asset. Whether the Cowboys stick with Hall or look elsewhere for a replacement, the totality of their run defense must improve under Matt Eberflus. Offenses continually gashed this group, burying themselves in deep holes. That must improve overall if they want to see change under the new regime. Adding an experienced piece like Hilton should certainly contribute to that movement. And you, fan? What do you think about Mike Hilton's situation? Write to us in the comments.